Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here at Fort Lauderdale, Florida's ITEXPO 2016. In the studio with me today, Jim DeBald from Coredial. Jim, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Eric. I appreciate it.
So, can we start off? Let's talk a little bit about your approach, Coredial's approach to your partners. A little bit different than what a lot of companies in the industry are doing. Tell me how you do it.
So we started out with a direct model 10 years ago when we were launching the service, the business. And we quickly found out that we had a unique aspect to our service that allowed other organizations, MSPs, IT integrators, VARs, interconnects, to private label our service to their customers. So we didn't pursue an agent model, which is more common in the industry. A lot of the carriers and service providers out there are wanting to sign up agents, which isn't a bad thing, and have those agents represent their service. We, on the other hand, have taken a different approach. We want our partners to become service providers, and we want them to own the customers and be forward-facing to their end users, which we think is a huge benefit to them, both financially and as far as staying power is concerned.
What does that mean for you as you're building relationships with your customers?
That's a great question. So there are approximately 125 to 140,000 prospects for us out there. If you look at some of the statistics that have recently been published about managed service providers, IT integrators, VARs, and integrators, we have 430 partners today. And we're very proud of that fact, and we've grown exponentially, but I doubt we're going to have 125,000 or 140,000 partners out there. And to go back to your question, we are looking for a partner that's able to provide certain basic services to their end users and wants to add another product to their portfolio that would further ingratiate them or ingrain them in their customers' environment. So, for example, our partners are providing level 1 support. They also do their own implementations. Now, for some people, that's a huge benefit. They like that. And for others, they don't want to do that. And so for the ones that don't, they're not obviously a good fit for us. They become a better fit for an agent model. And for the ones that do provide those services, then we become more attractive to them. So our task is really finding the right type of organization who wants to private label and become their own service provider.
So when you talk about things that are a good fit for Coredial and its partners, the support, you mentioned one thing. Are there other things that you look for?
I think that we're looking for partners who are astute business people, but it's hard to qualify that in a lot of ways. I mean, everybody, I have really good relationships, I think, personally with a lot of our business partners. Many of them I describe as 5 guys and a dog, and it's not intended to be a negative thing, but they're lifestyle businesses. These are folks who are working in their business and on their business at the same time, which can be very, very, very difficult. And we do very well with those types of organizations because they want to generate monthly recurring revenue. So, at the end of the day, we're looking for people who are astute when it comes to, certain technologies like LANs, WANs, but that's a given. Really the ones that want to generate monthly recurring revenue and are prepared to be able to take on that responsibility.
As far as the service itself, how has that evolved?
Dramatically, actually. If you look at where we started with the service, 10 years ago, and when we really get into the channel aggressively 7 years ago, it's changed exponentially. I mean, we describe ourselves as a UCaaS service. So Unified Communications as a Service really didn't exist, I don't think, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So a lot of the integration with chat and all the components that make up UC are becoming more and more important to our partners and more ingrained in our service offering. So we're going to continue to see a trend in that direction with our product offering. We have video offering within our product as well. It's only within an organization, but it's going to be available to anybody on the platform in the near future, we think. So it's exciting.
Do you have visibility into Unified Communications can be defined in
many
hundreds of different ways.
Right. Depends who you're talking to, right?
Exactly. Do you have visibility into particular features or capabilities that are more popular with the end users than others?
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to work wherever you are
The mobility aspect.
Right, the mobility, right. The mobility has become more and more important to the end users, more important to our partners, and it's become more and more important to us. So I think from that standpoint, I would say, yeah, thank you for that. Mobility would be the most obvious, I think, new aspect of our service that you're going to see us continue to develop.
And you mentioned video a moment ago. Video adoption, again, over the years, a lot of people talking about it. I'm not convinced that the true adoption is there.
I don't disagree with you, actually. I think it's. I worked for British Telecom back in a long time ago, and we used to offer video conferencing to major, typically Fortune 1000 or Fortune 500 companies, and it was typically done cross country, and the promise of videos started back then, and it's continued today. So I think it's going to become more and more adopted. I think it's going to become more of a basic staple of a UCaaS service over time. But to your point, that's been a promise for quite some time now, and we'll have to wait and see if that bears fruit. But I know that we're focused on it, and I know that end users are asking for it. So
I absolutely think that there's a use case for it. I'm just not sure it's as persistent as a lot of vendors or providers would like to have us believe.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I know for me personally, I don't need to have a video service, a conference with somebody that works for me or somebody in my organization. If I want to see them, I can go upstairs or, So, and it's cool to be able to see the people that you're dealing with remote, like partners, for example, every once in a while. But, we're going to offer it, and it'll become a basic staple, and we'll see if it's adopted or not, I think, over time. I think the mobility is way more important right now than that.
Fair enough. Good. Well, Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good week here at ITEXPO.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.